Well, we have the first images of the Bravehearts on their final journey. Tribute to the Bravehearts were made at the Srinagar airbase. In fact, it was the Chief Minister, Mehbooba Mufti, who paid her tribute to the brave jawans. The Indian Air Force arranged for special planes to transport the bodies of India's martyrs from Srinagar to their respective native places, while the first plane, a C-130, is carrying 11 bodies to Varanasi, Ranchi and Calcutta. The second plane, which is an AN-32, will be carrying the 4 remains to Udaipur and Nashik. One Mi-17 chopper will be carrying 2 bodies to Jammu Kashmir Chief Minister there, as we can see in the visuals, who is also led by senior army and police officials, paying tributes at the wreath-laying ceremony for the 17 soldiers who were killed in that attack on the army base in Uri yesterday in the early morning hours. These are the visuals as the Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti can be seen laying wreaths on the coffins of the martyred soldiers. It was held at the headquarters of the Chinar Corps, and now the bodies will be sent to the jawans' respective native places. Okay, we have with us now Shuja ul Haq for more on this. Shuja, understandably a somber ceremony, but this is not the first time, we are seeing a ceremony like this. Perhaps it is time now that somebody wakes up and translate those strong words into some action. Shuja, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Avantika. Can you repeat that question, please?
Yes, I was saying that we can see the visuals of the Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti, who's paying her respects. She's laying the wreaths on the coffins of the martyred soldiers. It's a very serious, a somber, very sad moment for the entire nation. Perhaps time for, everybody to wake up, the government to wake up and translate those strong words into some action.
Well, that's right, Avantika. In fact, there are many other points as well. These visuals that we are, showing to our viewers are from the wreath-laying ceremony that was held earlier in the morning at the Badami Bagh cantonment of Srinagar. Top army commanders were there, and the civilian administration was also there, which was headed by the Chief Minister herself. But, really, Avantika, there are many points. Many are criticizing the government, for perhaps leaving the soldiers vulnerable at that spot also. Remember, yesterday, Umar Abdullah had tweeted saying that, before we talk about revenge or before we talk about retaliation, we should also think about these soldiers. Why were they left in those tents which caught fire so easily? And most of the soldiers died because of that, fire that had sort of engulfed all those tents. So while all this is being talked about by our netas, perhaps there is time to also understand that why these soldiers are left so vulnerable in these spots. We've also been talking about how there was intelligence input. There were intelligence inputs that such attacks could take place. Whether there is a failure or from the entire security establishment which could not stop or avert these attacks is also something that will be probed.
Yes, Shuja, as you speak, we are also getting visuals of the Chief Minister paying a visit to the hospital and meeting those who sustained injuries as a result of the terror attack that we had heard of in Uri, and visuals of the fire that was emanating from those tents after those grenades were thrown. But, several questions. As you rightly said, the Chief Minister has strongly criticized and condemned the attack, which she says is... she feels was aimed to trigger fresh violence. But the fact remains that the Chief Minister herself, needs to be held accountable for not ensuring peace in the valley. There has been criticism from the opposition for her government not doing enough to restore peace in the state of Jammu and Kashmir.
That's again very important and valid point, Vantika. While the government yesterday issued a statement, said that these attacks were perhaps aimed to ensure that there is more unrest, more violence, in a state which is already facing a turbulent time. But she's also facing a lot of criticism that why the government has not been able to contain this violence, why there hasn't been effective measures, policy decisions taken both from the center as well as the state to ensure that this unrest and the violence comes down. And in the wake of this attack now, it definitely means that the situation has been escalated to a very tough level. And like you've all been pointing out from the time this attack took place, it will be very important to see what the response from the government of India to this particular situation will be. Will they want to, would they want to respond diplomatically, or would there be any other measures that they would, resort to in terms of showing their concern, or in terms of showing what their response would be? That is something that everybody would be waiting and watching for at this point of time.
And how does she, plans to prepare in the wake of the Uri attack? Because obviously there would be heightened tension in the state, wouldn't there be? Shuja?
Absolutely, bang on there, because there is extreme tension in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in Kashmir Valley. We are today seeing the 73rd day of the unrest. 86 people, civilians, have died in various clashes. 2 policemen have also lost their lives. And on top of it, now these militant attacks, which seem to be on a rise. Just yesterday in the night, there was an attack on a PDP, a leader in Anantnag. The militants stormed his house. More than 10 people were, we're told, were part of that attack. And they decamped with the rifles of the guard. It can't get more blatant than this. So clearly, this is a very difficult situation, and it will be important to see how the state government and the state and the central government decide to tackle this situation, because we're now seeing not just pressure from within, but also situations of escalation from outside as well, like this Uri attack. It only goes on to add to that tension and the worry of the establishment.
Absolutely. Shuja Al-Haq, thank you so much for joining us and taking us through the statements made by the Chief Minister and the visuals of the Chief Minister laying a wreath while she was paying her tribute to the brave hearts.
Yesterday, this condition was very critical.
Meanwhile, India's martyrs who perished in the recent Uri attack are being mourned by the entire nation. It's the families of these brave soldiers who are in a state of grief, sorrow. They're inconsolable. They're demanding justice and a firm response to Pakistan's continuing terror search. We'll just show you the picture of one of the soldiers who lost his life in the Uri attack. He is Sunil Kumar. He was among 2 of the 17 brave hearts and belongs to Bihar's Gaya district. The family members have appealed to the Modi government to harden India's stance vis-a-vis Pakistan. Heavily armed militants, Fidaeens rather, stormed a battalion headquarters of the army in North Kashmir, Uri town, in the early morning hours yesterday, killing 17 jawans. And that's not it. 25 jawans, in fact, have sustained serious injuries when these terrorists lobbed 17 grenades at their tents. 4 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists were killed after a heavy exchange of fire.
खून का खून बदला लेना चाहिए पाकिस्तान को, भाई को बदला लेना चाहिए। पाकिस्तान में मृत्यु हो गया।